So Nelson Mandela Bay Metro in the Eastern Cape has a new mayor. Last week, the Northern Alliance's Gary van Niekerk, a candidate supported by the EFF, the ANC and the Patriotic Alliance, was voted in, replacing the DA's Retief Odendaal, who was ousted in a motion of no confidence. The new mayor has promised stability for the Metro, which of course has seen its fair share of turbulence and actually multiple mayors in recent years. And its surrounds, of course, have also had to manage a crippling drought and major infrastructure challenges. Of course, the rise of gangsterism and crime in certain areas as well. Well, Mayor van Niekerk joins me now from Gqeberha. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us and congratulations. I have to ask the obvious question because we've seen this happen in other metros. We see that the EFF and the ANC get together, and in order for them, the two big guys, not to fight, they choose to support a mayor from a smaller party. And the perception always is that you're a placeholder, that you're a puppet mayor, and that you take your orders from the big guys. Talk to me about how much independence and how much leadership you're going to be able to exert in this position.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you for having me on your show. Let me start off by saying, passing my condolences on to the family of Eusebius Makeza. He's a brown African child from the region here in the Eastern Cape, down the road in Grahamstown. What a brilliant mind, what a role model. And it's really a loss to our society. To come back to your question regarding coalitions and me being from a smaller party, and Sally, I'd like to inform you that I was the Speaker of the Metro up until Friday in that very same council meeting. I resigned in the meeting when I was nominated as the mayor. And just today, Sally, coincidentally, I announced the mayoral committee. And I can tell you that was no easy task.
Yeah, I'm sure.
To get all these parties to agree to certain seats. Remember, we are a six-party coalition. It's the Northern Alliance, ANC, EFF, AIC, and PAC. And nobody wanted to budge. So to answer your question, I had to make some calls on my own to decide which way I'm going to go. And it was a tough call to make. And just to illustrate the point that, no, I'm not a puppet mayor. I do take decisions on my own, and I can promise you this: going forward, I will have to make decisions on my own again. That will be contrary to what my coalition partners feel or agree with.
And I ask that because I think South Africans are heartily sick of politicking at local government and metro level. What they want is for the right people to do the right things, to deal with our metros, which in many ways are so unstable. And you've said that your big focus is now stability, and that is to be welcomed. So in terms of stability, have you kept any of the previous order, and when I say previous order, I mean under Retief Odendaal, the DA's Retief Odendaal, have you kept any of his members of the mayoral committee for stability, for handover purposes, or have you done a clean sweep?
No, Sally, we've done a clean sweep. The reason for that is that if you look at what's happened in this metro over the last 8 months, we've heard about how brilliant our city is performing in terms of service delivery. Even I myself started doubting what was being said in the media and what I see outside. And the only way I could check whether it was the truth is by looking out my window. I am from the northern areas. I'm 5 kilometers from the townships. And I can tell you with 100% certainty what I see in the area where I live. That's not the case. And that is what this new coalition will be all about. We are a pro-poor coalition, and that will be our focus.
Let me just jump in there, because I want a specific response, because the DA is saying they've managed to fill 20,000 of an estimated, I think, 60,000 potholes in the last 8 months, also building 500 RDP houses. Are they lying?
Let me tell you something about the potholes, Sally. I was almost a mayor for only 24 hours. On a Saturday evening, after returning from a house where a lady sadly passed away after her house burned down, there were 11 inhabitants and 10 survived. and I was on my way back to City Hall at around about 7 o'clock the evening. It was pitch dark, no lights were working, and we hit a pothole. Now, if you know the northern areas in Port Elizabeth, the apartheid spatial planning that I was trying to get to earlier, we only have one main road. We have in the northern areas, that is at Stanford Road. And one would think that in Stanford Road alone, if that's the only main road we have that connects us to the rest of the metro, they would be able to take care of that.
Okay, so you're saying to me
sadly,
that they
that's
may...
not the case. So
that they fill potholes, but not actually prioritising areas that you believe should have been prioritised. As you say, a main road was not prioritised. Are you suggesting because it was leading to an area that they didn't regard as important?
It's the northern areas.
Yeah.
You have about 15 different suburbs in the northern areas. The northern areas it's mainly occupied by coloured people, and as well as if you go to the townships. If you ride in the townships, I was at the funeral on Sunday in the townships, and again, I could see there that the people are living in absolute squalor.
Okay.
But if you look at the western suburbs, it's not the case. Their potholes get fixed overnight.
Okay, I hear your point. Talk to me about the 500 RDP houses. Is the DA lying when they say they built 500 RDP houses in the last 8 months?
The RDP houses are being built. That directorate, the DOP was in charge of. I see the DA claiming credit that they are now in charge. It's their credit. It's due to them that that 500 houses have been built. The amount that I heard this afternoon was 360, but I'm not going to stress about 140 houses or not. But if you go check the records, you'll see the Defenders of the People's councillor was indeed the MMC of human settlements. Okay.
So we heard the quarterly crime stats that came out this morning. I know that crime and dealing with crime and gangsterism is one of your big issues. Eastern Cape murder rate is up, and it's also one of 2 provinces where multiple killings are on the rise. I think there were 155 in the Eastern Cape in the first 3 months of this year alone, which is extremely worrying. Talk to me about your strategy as mayor for Nelson Mandela Bay, because we have seen these incidents of gangsterism.
Sally, let me give you a better insight regarding the crime in this metro. In the northern areas, now, where I'm from, from the 1st of January up until last week, 100 young men were killed, all gang-related. 100, that's 20 a month. In New Brighton, KwaZulu, was declared last month, it was declared the murder capital of this metro. I can tell you this much, that in our local newspaper, it's never been reported. You don't hear these things being reported anymore. That is how we've been marginalized in our area. Our city doesn't make a noise about it. The MMC of Safety, the previous MMC of Safety, who is from the northern areas, didn't make a fuss about it. So you asked me about the strategy going forward. First of all, we need the buy-in of the community. We need the police to come on board. We need the Metro Police to equip a proper Metro Police in our metro. We need surveillance cameras, which are just lying up the road from where my office is, where I'm speaking to you from currently. All of that needs to be brought together. We need the expertise, even if we start using expertise of people from outside of the city to help us with our gangsterism problem. But gangsterism crime is my #1 concern in this metro. Correct.
All right. Okay. Well, that's really good to hear that you're absolutely on that. Of course, one of the reasons we often hear about Nelson Mandela Bay is because of the drought. I know you guys had rain recently, but I understand the drought is still a real problem. Just talk to me about the strategy there. Am I correct in assuming that just because there's a new dispensation, you're not going to change strategies, that you're assessing and going, right, we're on the right track, or we need to tweak, etc., etc. But talk to me, how full are your dams at the moment?
You made a very, very good point. We don't intend throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Our dam levels are now at 20-odd%. We've got some good rains again. It's raining right now outside, so we should be getting to around about 25%, which means we should be having about 250 days of water left.
I just seem to have lost your... I've just lost your audio. I'm not sure if it's our side.
Sorry about
there,
that.
we're back. Yes, sorry. You say you've got about 250 days of water left. You can pick up from there.
Yeah, that should, by Friday, we should have about 250 days water left. And you're right, we're not going to change everything overnight. We are on an upward curve at the moment. We'll be picking up where the previous dispensation left off. We certainly will be looking at our Niekerk water scheme to see if more water. We've come in for a lot of criticism from our citizens that not enough water is coming from that scheme, and we've invested heavily in that project. So yes, that is got to be our number one concern regarding the drought.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're going to intensify the program to get our citizens of this metro to save water.
Yeah,
it's 50 litres of water per day.
Right, big campaign. Thank you so much for chatting to me. And you certainly sound like you've got your finger on the pulse of a lot of the issues in the city, which, dare I say, is quite different to previous mayors that we have spoken to. And I won't mention names. But Gary Niekerk, I wish you all the best. May you prosper. Really, I think we all just want to see our cities getting back